2000. Thank you, Laura. I forgot to do that. I'm Alex Lloyd, and I am so excited about tonight, and not just tonight, but from now on, because something exists in the world now, I believe, that has not ever existed before, that can pretty dramatically benefit your health, and to the degree that if you are consistent and keep doing it, I believe your health is going to get better and better and better and better. All right. So let me kind of share where I'm coming from on this, and then we'll go real quickly. You're going to find out in the first like 15 minutes what this is and exactly how to do it. But before we show you that, let me beg you, please, 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 I'm begging you, don't leave after we show you what this is and how to do it. Because you need to understand what a breakthrough this is, and how this has never been possible before in the world, because we've not had it, and now we do. And this is going to be a game changer for, I believe, virtually every single person that does this. All right. And let me tell you where this comes from. I was into natural health way before the healing codes. I was in natural health back when I was in my 20s. And let me tell you why. When I was about 12 years old, my dad developed cardiovascular disease. He had 3 blockages in his chest. And the doctors told him, and this was a long time ago, this was in the early days of open heart surgery. And back then, and if you're not old like me, you may not know this, but in the early days of open heart surgery, even if it was successful, you were never the same again. Okay, that's just the way it was. It is not that way today. It's not been that way for a long time. But in the early days, that's the way it was. You were never the same again. You usually didn't live a whole lot longer, even after a successful open heart surgery. And until you expired, your life was greatly diminished. Even after a successful open heart surgery, you had low energy and all that sort of thing. You were never the same again. Okay. So if you're young and that doesn't make sense to you, that's because you're not old enough to remember. All right. If you Google, you'll find that. I promise. Okay. So when I'm 12 years old, I'm at home. I don't even remember what I'm doing. And my dad was told by his doctors that if he did not have open heart surgery, that he would die. There was no other option. Okay. And my dad knew that, okay, I'm between a rock and a hard place here. If I don't have the surgery, they're saying I'm going to die. But if I do have the surgery, I'm never the same again and may not even live much longer. And if the surgery is not successful, and it was much more dangerous then than it is now, I may be dead on the table. So he started looking for other options, other possibilities. So probably what any of us would do if we had a bad diagnosis like that. And he found a clinic in Alabama. I actually think it was illegal, but there was a medical doctor there named Dr. Evers. And Dr. Evers is one of the kindest men I've ever known. And so my dad went to this illegal clinic in the woods in Alabama because they were doing chelation. And chelation, which is a staple today that every medical doctor I know endorses, so do hospitals and places, even if some of them don't do it, they know the value of it and endorse it. Well, back then it was illegal. I mean, that sounds crazy, but it was. All right. So my dad found a place that was doing it anyway. And he thought, I'll go there and I'll try that. If it doesn't work, then I'll have the open heart surgery. But if it does work, then maybe I can get my life back. Okay. So he went there and he'd been there about 3 weeks. And then one day my mom came to me when I was about 12 years old. And she was kind, but she was very, very in a hurry and very stern. And she said, Alex, go to the car right now, go to the car. Mom, what's going on? Alex, don't talk. Go to the car. All right, now. My brother was at college, so he was not involved with that. It was just me at home. So I get in the car and my mom gets in, and no joke, she's driving over 100 miles an hour to this clinic in the woods in Alabama. And the last part of that was on dirt roads, and she was going about 80 miles an hour on the dirt roads. All right. And the reason she was is Dr. Evers had called her and told her that my dad had become extremely sick. He was throwing up uncontrollably. He couldn't stop throwing up and felt bad and was rolling around on the ground. And in other words, my mom was trying to get there before he died. She was trying to get there really so that he could tell me goodbye. Okay. And we get there, and there's no cell phones then. So this is about 2 hours after the phone call. And my dad was, deathly sick and everything. And we get there, and my dad's running around the place like he's 20 years old. We're shocked. She was thinking he's about to die. I'm about to be a widow. How am I going to pay the bills and everything? And he was playing tennis, which he hadn't done in years and years and years. What had happened is that from the chelation, those 3 blockages had dissolved and moved out, and he had no more blockages. And that's great, right? It was great. The problem was the amount of blood flow to his heart increased like 5 times like that in an instant. And that increased flow of blood, when he hadn't experienced that in many years, made him sick. But when it was over, he felt like he was, many years younger. All right. And after that happened, we were hugging and crying and everything else. And, it was a scene. It was one of those frozen moments in your life. And later that evening, as we were just kind of sitting around talking and stuff, I was sitting on the steps of the clinic with Dr. Evers, the medical doctor. And here's what he told me, and I never forgot it. He said, Alex, I may be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. Such a humble man, especially for a medical doctor. And here's what he said. I believe that God put the cure, that's the word he used, for all illness and disease on earth. Now, maybe we haven't discovered the plant or the mineral or whatever it is yet, or maybe we don't know the right combination. But he said, I believe with all my heart that God put the cure for everything here on earth if we can just be diligent and find it and test it and all of that. And if you're not aware, I saw a research study done, I think it was at a university in London, where they found that there was about 250,000 plants that have never been tested for medicinal value. And the article was saying, is the cure for cancer in those 250,000 plants? Is the cure for type 1 diabetes in those 250,000 plants? Is the cure for, everything, like Dr. Evers said, in those 250,000 plants and the minerals and all those other things too, that still to this day have never been tested. Okay. And I believe that. I agree with him, and I always have, and I've never forgotten that. So I got into nutrition long, long ago, way before the healing codes. And 20 months ago, Hope and I were taking, I believe it was about $1,600 a month, every month in nutrition. And we've been doing that for many years, over probably as soon as we could afford it. which was probably about 15 years ago, 16 years ago, that would have started to that degree. Okay. You know, we did what most people do, you know, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, you know, those things. I got turned on to CBD a number of years ago, but that's been relatively new. But anyway, about $1,500 to $1,700 a month. And I've been in good health. Hope has not been in as good a health as I have been, but she's in good health. I don't know of any disease or illness she has. She has some aches and pains here and there, or she did 20 months ago, etc. Okay, so 20 months ago, I started this experiment. And it was all me. It was my idea. I was praying, and I had, and I'm not saying God told me this. I've never had another revelation like the healing codes before or since. And I'm not saying this was one of those. It wasn't. But I was praying, and the recipe. I thought of the recipe. Okay, and I thought, wow. That might just be incredible. That might just be a breakthrough. Okay. And 20 months later, I'm now convinced it is a breakthrough, as well as other people are convinced too. And I'll tell you, you're gonna hear from a couple of those in a few minutes. Okay. But let me just tell you, for me and Hope, 20 months ago, my blood pressure. And I just turned 65 in July. I just recently turned 65. Okay. So 20 months ago, my blood pressure was 120/75, which is really good for my age. Okay. In fact, if you look up, once you get over 65, they're really hoping you'll be like 130 or less, if you're 65 or more. All right. Well, I was way better than that. I was good for a much younger person than myself. So 120/75. 20 months ago, my pulse rate was 72, which is good. All right. My LDL-C cholesterol, no, I'm sorry. I don't have the pre on that. I just have the now on that. Yeah. I think it was the LDL-C today. I'll start there. For me, 20 months ago, my cholesterol was a little bit elevated. All right. That, as far as I know, that's the only significant health issue I had. Today, it's not. I had a checkup with my doctor 3 weeks ago, and today, my blood pressure is 110/70, from 120/75 to 110/70, and stable. My pulse has gone from 72 to 50. 50. Now, I was a long distance runner for 20 years. I would run 6 to 12 miles a day. All right. I had a insurance exam when I was about 35, and my pulse was 40. And they told me at that exam, you know, you better wear one of those bracelets, because if you get in an accident and you're unconscious, if they take your pulse and it's 40, they might start charging the paddles. Okay. So, but when I quit the long distance running, my pulse rate came up to 72 20 months ago. Today it's 50. My LDL-C is 170. My LDL is 90, both of which are excellent. And especially for me, because that was the one thing I'd had that was a little bit off 20 months ago. Hope has had similar results, but Hope also had joint pain and arthritis pain gone. 20 months later, gone. In fact, it was gone a long time ago. It was gone probably after a couple of months. Gone. I had a few little aches, not arthritis and not near as bad as Hope, Mine are gone too. Okay. And I used to like to take naps. Okay. And I would cite the studies that every study that's ever been done says you get more done if you take a nap than if you don't take a nap and use that nap time to work. You actually get more done if you take the nap, which is kind of crazy. It's a little bit paradoxical, okay? But for the last 20 months, I can't take a nap. I've got too much energy. I never get tired. I go from when I get up in the morning till bedtime, my energy never drops. And I'm not exaggerating. Hope would tell you the same thing. She's on the beach right now, but she would tell you the same thing. Okay. Now, part of this too is that I've got two longtime close friends named Dr. Josh Axe and Dr. Jordan Rubin. Dr. Josh Axe is considered the top chiropractor in the world. He doesn't practice anymore, but he's world famous. A lot of you, I'm sure, have probably heard of him. A lot of people have. He's not just popular in chiropractic circles, he's popular everywhere. Okay. And they are very good friends of mine. Jordan is a dear friend of mine for a long, long time. Jordan is Josh's mentor. And their nutrition company, which is called Ancient Nutrition, is, I believe, like the second or third largest nutrition company in the world. I believe the latest valuation of it is close to $1 billion. And there's lots of pharmaceutical companies that are worth many, many, many billions. I'm not going to go down that road tonight, or I'll never get out of it. But that's very unusual for a nutritional company. And it's because they do it so well. Their line in Ancient Nutrition is the only private label 100% organic line in the world, and they grow all of their own stuff on their own farms. And if you go to their farms and into their greenhouses and stuff, it's crazy because, like, in the greenhouses and even out on the fields, they have therapeutic light going. They have classical music playing. They have all this stuff that the plants absorb and that makes them more healthy. And the result is a purer product, and I believe more effective as well. Okay. So, Laura, if you could put up that first slide, please. And we're going to go through these as quickly as we can. But I'm going to beg you, after I show you what this is and exactly how to do it at home, please don't click off. I want you to hear from one of the top nutritionists in the world about this, and I want you to hear from Jordan himself about this. Okay, next slide, Laura, please. Next slide. All right, here we go. Oh, I forgot water. Okay, so Laura, can you see me or not? Laura, can you see me or not? Can you hear me? I don't see myself anywhere.
I can see you.
Oh, you can? Okay. So let's do this. Let me go through this, and then let's take this down so they can see me big in the screen, and I'm going to show them how to do it in real time. Okay. So here's what it is. Here's what it is. It is 1 scoop, and I do this in the morning. I recommend you do it in the morning. 1 scoop of collagen peptide protein in a glass of, I would say 4 to 8 ounces of good, clean, pure water. All of this is going in the water except for one thing. All right. So you get 4 to 6 ounces of water, and then you're going to put some stuff in it. 1 scoop of collagen peptide protein. And I'm going to show you what that is in a minute and why it's so critical. That's the glue that holds everything in your body together. Your bones, muscles, tendons, ligaments, skin. The collagen peptide proteins typically in 7 days will eliminate your aches and pains and greatly diminish even arthritis pain, and usually eliminate it completely over time. It's incredible. All right. So 1 scoop of that, 1 scoop of a Super Greens product. But believe me, this is not like any other Super Greens product in the world. And you're going to find out why in just a minute. And then 1 ashwagandha tablet that is the best nutrition in the world for anxiety. It's fabulous for anxiety and cortisol control in your body, which means stress control. All right. Then we're going to put 3 other things in there. We're going to put a pinch of organic Irish sea salt. We're going to put 1 to 2 teaspoons, and that, Laura, if you can change that, change it, but that should be teaspoon, not tablespoon. And that's important. Okay. So do not do tablespoons. That'll be too much. Do 1 to 2 teaspoons of organic apple cider vinegar. And then you're going to do about 1.5 ounces, basically a shot glass of organic virgin, double virgin, cold pressed olive oil, which is one of the healthiest things on planet Earth, absolutely packed with antioxidants for cancer, for bones and joints, ligaments, all that. All right. All right. So Laura, if you can take that down, please. And I'm going to do this for you right now. So am I big in the screen, Laura, so they can see me good?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So I forgot to get water, so I'm going to dump out my Gatorade bottle of water into the glass. Okay. So we've got a glass of clean filtered water. And now I'm going to start adding stuff. Here is the chocolate collagen peptide protein. That's what Hope does because she likes chocolate. I do the vanilla. So I'm going to get 1 scoop of collagen peptide protein. And I'm going to put that in the water. Just like that. All right. And I'm done with that. Then I'm going to get the Super Greens with all of your daily vitamins, minerals, and everything else included, plus mushrooms, therapeutic mushrooms, and basically every vitamin in the world is in this. Okay. So I'm going to get 1 scoop of the Super Greens, and I'm going to put that in the water. All right. Then I'm going to get 1 to 2 teaspoons of organic apple cider vinegar. And I know about there you go. That's 1 to 2 teaspoons. I'm going to get a pinch of sea salt. And I'm going to throw that in. And now I'm going to get, and we just buy the Kirkland. It needs to be organic, extra virgin olive oil and cold press. And the thing about olive oil is a lot of them say they're good, but they're not. So you need to either find the list by the International Olive Oil Association of the ones they've tested that are good. This one, Kirkland, is at Costco, and it is on that list. It is one of the better ones. Okay, love Costco. So I'm going to get 1 shot glass. See if I can do this without spilling it and where you can hopefully see it. There we go. 1 shot glass. And I'm going to add that in. And then I'm going to get 1 ashwagandha tablet. And by the way, this already has ashwagandha in it, but I like more because stress is such a huge deal for everybody these days. So this is the only thing that doesn't go in the glass. All right. So this, I just pop it and then I stir this up, chug it. It has a little bit of a sweet taste, not bad at all, not great tasting either, but not bad. A little sweet. And I do that first thing in the morning, ladies and gentlemen, and that is it. That's it. Now, it took me longer to do that tonight because I was demonstrating, but in the morning, it takes me 60 seconds to do what I just did in front of you and chug it. 60 seconds, okay? And your health is going to get better and better and better and better. Why? Because these are not normal nutritions, the way we put them together, and the way that Josh and Jordan have formulated the collagen peptide protein and the super greens is a major breakthrough on its own in the world of nutrition. You're going to find out why in just a second. Okay, Laura, if you could put the slides back up. Okay. Here's the collagen peptide protein, and one of the breakthroughs of their collagen peptide protein is that very first bullet point. It contains fermented eggshell membrane collagen, which is next level for the results from this. Okay. And all the other stuff that you would expect, grass-fed, non-GMO, cage-free, cruelty-free, no hormones, all of that. 10 types of collagen from 4 different sources, 2 billion CFUs, a tremendous amount of that stuff for your health and your gut and all of that. It includes probiotics, and you'll see under the benefit bullets, support for your healthy skin, hair, joints, improves the appearance of crow's feet after 4 weeks, reduces knee stiffness, usually, and aches and pains, usually in 7 days. 7 days. How many of you have aches and pains? How many of you have arthritis like Hope did? Don't live with that anymore. I don't think you have to anymore. Okay, next slide, please, Laura. All right, this is the super greens, and this is the real magic behind this thing. That if I had to pick one thing of all the ingredients that make this next level and the breakthrough that no one has ever done before, this is it. Okay. This has all of your greens. So this satisfies more than your daily requirements of all fruits, all vegetables, all vitamins, all minerals, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you'd have to buy like 20 separate supplements to get. And no one else in the world today has this. Now, probably in 5 years, they will. Today, they don't, because Josh and Jordan developed it themselves on their farms and patented it and all that sort of thing. So for now, this is the only place you can get this, okay? Next slide, please. These are 24 of the things in the super greens. There's a whole bunch of others, but it's basically all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the fruits, vegetables, mushrooms, everything. Next slide, please. This is the ashwagandha. I'm not going to say much about that. I think it's the best ashwagandha on the market, the purest, organic, all of that. But there's a lot of other good ashwagandhas too. But this is a really good one, maybe the best. All right, next slide. We're not going there yet. Okay, if you could put up Josh Axe, please, Laura. Nope. There you go. And we don't have sound.
Founder of DrAxe.com. Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Axe, founder of draxe.com and co-founder of Ancient Nutrition. You know, I've spent my entire career helping people heal using food as medicine, and I'm a huge fan of Dr. Alex Lloyd and all he's done with creating the trilogy. And I'm always so excited to partner with Dr. Alex in anything he does in helping people heal the root cause of disease.
Okay, now,
I'm a therapist who goes to the
now, okay, take that down, please, Laura. All right. When we get finished here and you can actually buy this and start changing your life, you're going to be able to get it at a price that is not available anywhere. In fact, if you go to Ancient Nutrition, they charge significantly more for this than you're going to have to pay to get it. And you're probably thinking, wait a minute, it's cheaper than the people that manufacture it? You can get it from them? Yes, it is. And here's the reason we can do that. Because Josh, Jordan, and I have decided to partner with each other on a chiropractic program. Josh Axe is a chiropractor, on a chiropractic program to try to get in thousands of chiropractic offices with their Ancient Nutrition that we're talking about tonight, but also my Healing Codes trilogy and belief mapping, because chiropractors by law cannot do mental emotional health. So taking my mental emotional stuff to them, they can now have a income stream that they've never had before because they're forbidden to have it by law. They would take their license away if they started doing mental emotional care. But because my stuff is not counseling or therapy, they can do that all day long. So Josh and Jordan and I are going to try to take over the chiropractic world with their nutrition and my mental emotional items. But because we're partnering together, I'm able to get this cheaper than anyone else anywhere, and am able to sell it literally for significantly cheaper than they sell it for themselves. Okay, so but that's coming. Okay, if you could put up the Jordan video, please, Laura. This is Jordan Rubin, the co-owner of Ancient Nutrition and the New York Times best-selling author of The Maker's Diet, among other books. He is a very good friend of mine. We've been friends for a long time. And I believe this is 8 minutes long. And Jordan is going to tell you his opinion of this thing that we put together. So go ahead, Laura. Thank you.
So we live in south of Nashville, Tennessee, and we have 6 children. So yes,
Okay.
we've been collecting kids over the last 20 years, but it's been a great run. And I've known you for 18 years, Alex, not 10, but it seems like only 10. That's good. I think that these 3 products taken together meet the needs in today's world of 95+% people, but it goes far beyond vitamins and minerals. And we already talked about collagen being the glue that holds us together. What's special about ashwagandha, it's not like collagen where we all are deficient in this particular herb. The problem that ashwagandha addresses is an abundance of cortisol in the body. And if you think about it, cortisol is the stress hormone that is really good when you're being chased by a bear in a national forest. It's fight or flight. It soups up your adrenals. It's like shocking your system. However, when you're sitting on your rear end on a Zoom meeting like I am, or we are, if you're sleeping, if you're minding your own business, you don't want elevated cortisol. Cortisol levels that are too high make you look older, feel lethargic, you're in a bad mood, you crave more carbs, the list goes on and on. I believe that because of the world we live in, hyper convenience, bad news at our fingertips, we're always worrying and hearing, did you hear this? I mean, think about it. Every time you open your computer or smartphone, you see a shooting somewhere. or you see some horrible negative thing about an athlete, or it's always negative. My grandmother, who died years and years ago, would always joke around saying, I'm watching the good news on TV, because it was a joke, because it's never good news. All of that contributes to increased cortisol, which makes you age faster. So if you can find a way to lower cortisol levels, it is absolutely incredible for adults of all ages. And the ashwagandha formula that's certified organic that you're offering in clinical studies lowers cortisol levels by an average of 24.4% and increases DHEA, which may be a hormone akin to the fountain of youth that helps to increase testosterone if you're a man, progesterone if you're a woman. So I'm not going to say that every vitamin and mineral known to man is found in our products. I think it's more than that, because vitamins and minerals are not all that we need. So I do think if you can boost your skeletal system with collagen, if you can lower your cortisol with ashwagandha, and if you can increase your ability to energize, detoxify, support your immune system and your gut while getting your greens, that it is an awesome 1-2-3 combo. And I think, look, we created these products. You all put them together in this format. I'm excited to see how well people begin to experience revitalization, maybe even in areas they didn't know were broken or thought there was no hope in improving. That's going to be really exciting. Well, we are the first farm in Tennessee's history to be regenerative organic certified. That's beyond organic, and it involves caring for soil, animals, and farmers, which is so important to our ecosystem. And in order to maintain the certification, we need to objectively improve our ecosystem literally every day. So we can't stay the same. We must regenerate all aspects. And it's a major passion of mine. God gave me a plan literally to heal the planet. I know it's controversial because certain political organizations have tried to take this environmentalism, climate change in the wrong direction. But the bottom line is God made us stewards over the planet. And he literally says that the earth is crying out to his people to bring regeneration. And I've heeded the call. And if you're part of our customer base, any ancient nutrition product you purchase, we dedicate a percentage of proceeds to our regenerative agriculture projects, where we're going to show the world how to recreate the Garden of Eden based on Jesus giving us those keys to the kingdom he took back from you know who. So super exciting strategy and life calling that we have. I just appreciate being able to play a small role in what you all are doing. I truly believe.
Okay. And let's go back. Let's go to, well, no, let me say something first. Okay. So in a minute, I'm going to bring out one of the top doctors one of the top nutritional expert doctors in the world. And what he's going to do is he is going to give you a master class in vitamins, minerals, greens, things like that. And the reason he's going to do that is because one of the breakthroughs of the super greens is that, and the reason we've never been able to do this before, accomplish it before, is there's certain things that we need every day, but they don't go together. You don't take them together, or they'll cancel each other out. Okay. So you have to do it in a weird way, or a different day, or a different time of day, or something like that. But they have figured out, they have cracked the code on how to put these together in the exact percentages, and and some other things too, that make it where they can put everything in there and none of it cancels anything else out. It all magnifies each other. And that has never been done before. I took all of these into my medical doctor and had him look at the ingredients. And he said, I've never seen anything like this. I thought I'd seen everything. He said, whoever figured this out is a genius. and this could literally change the world because we've not been able to put these things together like this before, but they have figured out a way to do it. We didn't even think there was a way to do it. We'd given up on that, but now we know there is, and it's available now. And I believe it will change your health trajectory very, very quickly. Hope and I both saw a significant difference within 2 months. 2 months. Oh yeah, I can tell it's working. I've got more energy. My aches and pains are gone. Whatever. All right. So, okay. So, Laura, how are they going to get the link to go check this out?
I left the links in the chat here.
In the chat. Okay, so the link is in the chat. You can go there if you want to, but we're not done yet. And this is the part where I begged you not to leave, because one of the top nutrition doctors in the world, it's going to take 30 minutes, okay? That's how long it takes him. It's going to take him 30 minutes. But in 30 minutes, he is going to give you a master class in vitamins, minerals, nutrition, and what an amazing breakthrough this is, because they cracked that code, and he's going to tell you more about that. And the reason that's so important is you can't just go get a super greens. You can't just go get a peptide. You can't. They've cracked the code. The others don't have this stuff because they cancel each other out. All right. So the links are there. If you want to go, you can check it out. But this is what you're about to see in 30 minutes. I have never seen anybody do. And I've seen probably 10 or 12 nutrition experts get up and give what they said was like a tutorial on nutrition, an overall general tutorial on nutrition. But let me tell you, none of them could touch what you're about to hear. This guy's next level. All right. He really is. Everybody that knows this doctor well says that this guy's different. He's beyond everybody else on this, at least. Not everything, but on this. So Laura, if you'll put the other doctor up there, there you go. And we will have questions and answers after. Go ahead, Laura.
I want to tell you, before we get into the ingredient list, I would like to tell you.
Is there a way to increase the size to blow it up a little so they can read that better? If there's not, just go ahead and push play. But if there's a way to make it a little bigger, that'd be good.
Sorry, Alex, because this is a video, this is the only size we have.
Okay, that's all right. Go ahead.
Formula does not have in it. And so we have a certain political entity, and he always kind of puckers his lips out and says China. And China is the source of a bunch of synthetic vitamins. And so as Dr. Alex mentioned, this is all organic and it's all whole food. So what we should maybe point out is, if it wasn't organic and it wasn't whole food, what you're getting in a lot of multivitamins at about the same price point is they're getting their B vitamins from like coal tar. Do a little research on this. 80% of this stuff comes from China. It's coal tar, it's acetone, it's ammonia. They're using high doses of the vitamin C compounds, or like ascorbic acid, which is not fat soluble, so it burns through your kidneys, can up your kidney stones, give you diarrhea. You're absorbing very little of it. The vitamin A compounds they're using are the beta carotenes that are synthetic, and they're retinols. And so this is all from not only whole food, but be very clear, organic. And what that means is there's no chemical derivatives, there's no fertilizers, no pesticides, there's none of the things in there that can pollute this. And this is a deep dive here that I wish more of us knew, and we could protect our families with this fun fact. when you go to the grocery store, you can go to your local major, I don't want to mention names because I don't want to get a letter from anybody, but you go to your big grocery stores, and you can go through the produce aisle, and you can get lettuce and collard greens and carrots, and especially non-organic celery. And you can come back and you can test that stuff. You can find the active chemical that's associated with all the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that's in Roundup. You can get that not in your backyard. You can get that in the produce aisle at your grocery store. So one, we don't want a bunch of chemicals, but two, we want not just whole food. We want to make sure it's organic. So we would never give our children Roundup and their chewable vitamins. Well, what if the chewable vitamins also had artificial flavors? What if they also had all kinds of synthetic things from coal tar in the B vitamins? And so please don't believe me. Please do some research and look at like the major sources of these vitamins. So one of the things that we see a lot of do-gooder companies, and they really are passionate about trying to keep people healthy. And they'll come out, and I've used many of these over the years, and we always use what's the best available thing to us. Well, we've never had something that was not only whole food, but every single thing in it was organic. And so what a tremendous thing. And so before we talk about what it does have in it, let's celebrate what it does not have in it. And then I'd also like to make a real clear point here. There's really smart doctors out there. The gentleman who just left the screen is one of them. And I know some really bright guys in practice. But if we're being really sincere and transparent with our patients, one of the best things that we can do as physicians is we can look at our patients and say, you know what? I am smart enough. I am absolutely smart enough to realize how dumb I am. And so instead of me trying to provide you with a synthetic this to fix that and another synthetic this to fix that, and instead of me playing the chemist, let me use Mother Nature, the higher order of things to fix your problem. So I'll give you an example. I graduated in the early 90s with my undergraduate degree, and I was a pre-medicine biology and chemistry major. And so back in those days, we knew about 20, I believe it was about 21 cousins in the retinol family, or in the, more clearly, the vitamin A family. When I took my board exams for my doctorate degree 4 or 5 years later, we were up to 25 cousins. So we found 4 more cousins in that family. So I told one of my professors, I said, hey, I think in undergrad, if I remember right, and of course I took the test, learned it all and forgot it all because I didn't know I was going to end up using it every day. I think there was 21 cousins in that family. And now is it 25? And he said, well, it's probably 40, but we're only smart enough to synthesize and duplicate the 25 that we know about. But if we got vitamin A from food, we might get all the cousins, the ones that we know about. And here's the kicker, guys, the ones that are unknown. So when we're using whole food, we're getting the unknowns. And so all we have to be smart enough to know is how dumb we are. And if we go with the more natural source, we'll solve the problem better. I've worked in clinical nutrition now for 26 years. What I've found is when I identify the health problem, and we'll talk about some of those tonight, as a deficiency of this or a deficiency of that, and I use a more natural version of this or that, I get a better, quicker, faster, more complete solution. And so I think we have to have an approach of natural whole food, and then we have to celebrate what's not in it. Okay, so I want to kind of make that derivative. Now, the other thing that I think is huge before we talk about this specific list, and Alex is going to shoot me if I don't get started here in just a second, but here's the other thing. I hear so many marketing ploys by nutrition companies, and they'll try to come in and convince me that, well, no, you can't absorb vitamin D unless you have omega-3, or, oh, no, you can't have vitamin K without black pepper. So here's what I would tell you about that. Largely, a lot of this is just marketing. And so they want you to believe that because their product just happens to have that little combination in it. Here's what I would say about that. How does it present itself in nature? And when you look at factors and cofactors and enzymes and coenzymes and catalysts, if we go whole food, the natural order of things puts it in a format that is the most bioavailable to the human body. We're not made to live day to day on synthetic chemicals. We're made to take our nutrition and our building and rebuilding blocks, our corrective influences from nature itself. And so we'll get on to what this has in it, but knowing that that is the source and the things that it does not have in it is what we ought to first take note of. So there's some omissions in here that should be celebrated. Now, getting onto this list. So when I have patients in practice that have vitamin A deficiencies, I try not to give them synthetic vitamin A. And so all these synthetic beta carotene formulas, your body can actually convert some of that, but it's much better if we get vitamin A from beets and the greens of beets and veggies and some of our colorful fruits. And if we get our vitamin A from that source, that helps with night blindness, it helps with eye issues, it helps with liver, gallbladder, urinary bladder. Those are huge issues. And vitamin A and vitamin C is on a seesaw. So if you really load up on vitamin C, you'll deplete your vitamin A. So I have all these people in the winter, they get sick and they take a bunch of vitamin C and they don't really respond. But if we give them A and C at the same time, they get a tremendous shortening of what they're going through, and we can sometimes really slow the duration. So when we don't megadose one certain nutrient, we get them all together, our body can use that better. Now, going from A to the next on the list is C. Here's the kicker. We talked about C. If it's in that ascorbic acid form, that is not fat soluble. We blow right through that. And I think Alex almost jumped off the cliff when Dr. Jordan Rubin, who formulated a lot of this, was telling us about their farming procedures and what they've got that's unique and special. And we tortured Alex with a 20-minute conversation about some of his mushroom programs. But the compounds that are in the mycelia and some of these fantastic things that they've got there are the whole food sources of this. A couple things, guys. Vitamin C is technically a carbohydrate, and your body loves to take carbohydrates. When cancer patients go for a PET scan, they give them a glucose solution that has a radioisotope in it. And we know that sugar goes straight to the tumor. So if we have cancer patients on here tonight, when you had your PET scan, you know that you had to take that sugar solution and they had to mark it with that radioisotope to find where it was going to feed the cancerous cell. What I would tell you guys is your body sends vitamin C, the carbohydrate, to the cell, but it doesn't feed the cancer. Vitamin C helps your immune response. So in a not overreaching way at all, but in a technical manner, that means to some degree, vitamin C has a anti-tumoric or natural killer cell effect by increasing tumor necrosis factor and these type of things to work almost like a chemotherapy. So we were talking with Dr. Rubin, and Dr. Alex and I had discussed a mushroom called turkey tail. Well, these mushrooms are on the farm that is where we're getting all of these great whole food products for our vitamin C. Fantastic. Well, let's get down here to vitamin D. So during COVID, everybody that was trying to fight back and prevent COVID, this and that, became more and more aware of vitamin D. So that's a good thing. And almost everybody that works inside who's not out in the sunshine, working like on the farm or that type of thing, is somewhat deficient in vitamin D. Now, when you take a person who's like my complexion or darker, we're the most at risk for very low vitamin D. And so you may have heard during COVID that lots of the people who got a much worse case of that were darker peoples. I had a pretty significant case of it myself. And so I took a ton of nutrition during that time to make a comeback from that, and chose not to do a whole lot of pharmaceuticals during that. But darker people reflect more sunlight than we do absorb. So especially us darker people need more vitamin D. And so we're getting it from whole food sources here. Now, vitamin E is actually a hormone. And most people don't know that vitamin E is not only a vitamin, but it's a hormone. And it's just a chemical bond or two from being testosterone. And so we all know that aging gentlemen like Dr. Alex probably need to focus more and more, I'm in that group too, on increasing their vitamin E so that we increase our testosterone. We all know that our men in our generation have about 1/2 to 1/3 the testosterone that our fathers and our grandfathers had. It is an epidemic because of our nutrition. Now, I'll tell you this, for the ladies on the call tonight that are listening, ladies, testosterone is not just for your roommates. Testosterone should be one of the highest sex hormone levels in the female body as well. And now more than ever, ladies are joining us with heart disease and all of these things. Remember, vitamin E is almost testosterone. And if we took a lot of testosterone, we'd have really strong biceps, muscles. But remember, the heart's a muscle. And now ladies are joining us with heart disease and heart attacks and having almost as many as gentlemen, because they're just as testosterone deficient and vitamin E deficient as we are, okay? And then moving on from the heart to the blood, Dr. Rubin and Dr. Josh have put in K2. That's the green stuff from your leafy greens and from the farm, not a synthetic, actually comes from the greens. Now, when we get into, hang on, I'm gonna have to cheat here, excuse me. Thiamine. So vitamin B1 is a big deal, guys. And I want you, if you're actually got a pen and paper tonight, you're listening to this, it's time to get your pen and your paper ready to go. Here's where we're going to go into hyperdrive. But vitamin B1 is a big deal. Vitamin B1 is stripped out of our bodies when we eat refined grains. And so to metabolize sugar, especially carbohydrate from refined grains. Now, let me just tell you how we state that in my office. That's white trash, okay? Your mamas and your grandmamas should have told you not to hang out with white trash. And I hope Dr. Alex's parents taught him not to hang out with white trash. But what I say by that is white bread.
I am white trash.
Nobody buys that. What I'm stating there is like no chips, no cookies, no crackers, no cakes, no pretzels, no croutons. When you get vitamin B1 deficient, then it's kind of referred to, the condition is called beriberi, but the translation of beriberi is the great mimicker. So there's a lot of people that have these neurological symptoms, and B vitamins are very good for the nervous system. And because they've had so many refined sugars, we have a tremendous difference in practice when we get them on a whole food B complex, and we cut down on their white trash. And then we start making nervous system improvements really, because our whole population now is getting type 2 diabetes. This one's huge. Now, one more thing about B1, I'll move on. The B1 is always going to be depleted with people who do any significant amount of alcohol at all, and anybody who does a large amount of refined grains. Now, remember, beer is bred in a bottle. So if we're doing much beer, we're definitely getting a fair amount of white trash. Well, if you're deficient in B1, you can't metabolize your carbohydrate and your sugar like you're supposed to be. So let me tell you the epidemic of this. I took my national boards to become a physician in the mid 90s. And so in 96, when I graduated and started practicing, 1 in 17 Americans was a diabetic. I believe now it's closer to 1 in 6. So it's 3 times worse than it was, because we're consuming more and more white trash, but also because we do not have the eraser that helps you process your vitamin B1. Now, here's a challenge. Everybody out there who's got a blood sugar meter, here's what I want you to do. I want you to have a little field trip, and I want you to do a white trash meal. I want you to measure how many ounces it is, and I want you to have exactly the same amount. But here's the kicker. I want you to take a whole food B1 30 minutes before you eat the exact same meal, and have the exact same meal 2 days later without the B1. And I want you to take your blood sugar, and I want you to see what B1 will do for you if you do that. So everybody on here, me included, has an occasional excess of carbohydrate. So here's the thing. If we're gonna do the thing, we better do the thing that keeps the thing from causing us to have the thing. So I think that's perfectly clear. Don't you think, Dr. Alex?
That's classic.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so now let me pick up some speed here, or we're gonna have a 2 day. Yeah, we'll go to the next thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is riboflavin, and riboflavin or vitamin B2. That's a real big deal with people who have too high of a carbohydrate thing. And Dr. Alex was gracious enough to give me the floor on this. So I want to tell you guys a little something that is of tremendous importance to me. In my practice, one of the things we really focus on is I try to help people. One of my biggest, highest populations of patients is migraine patients. And so we have people who come from lots of places who have suffered for a really long time with migraines. And what we find sometimes is migraines will get a whole lot better when we get vitamin B complex deficiencies, especially riboflavin, fixed. So here's what I do. And if you've ever been to a headache doctor and they didn't do this with you, then we probably need to find another headache doctor. But here's what I always look at with them. And the headache people will show me on their head, it starts here and it radiates like that. And I don't pay attention to that. I get real close to them and I see if they're oily in the corners of their nose, if their lips are cracked, and then if we're oily, greasy, shiny, and we're cracked in our lips, I take their shoes and socks off and I look at their feet. And if their heels are cracked, I know that, and they have headaches, I know that they have a massive vitamin B2 deficiency. And if I fix their riboflavin levels, there's a huge likeliness that I can help them with their migraines. Now, anybody who also has headaches all the time and itchy, watery eyes, or itchy, watery eyes without the headaches, or lots of allergies and histamine, very likely you're getting a riboflavin deficiency. And these things get way better with whole food sources like what you're finding here. And we'll megadose them sometimes to solve the problem quicker. But if you were taking this every day, you're heading in that corrective direction every single day. Now, the next one on the list is niacin or vitamin B3. And so we're going to be politically correct here. But gentlemen, this is a circulation issue, okay? And not that ladies don't need good circulation too, but when we have people who have, cold hands, cold feet, poor circulation, and gentlemen who have erectile dysfunction, that is a circulation issue, sometimes more than a hormonal issue. We can help with niacin. Now, niacin also helps us lower our LDL cholesterol. Some people call that bad cholesterol. I would tell you there's no such thing as bad cholesterol. There's just too much of a cholesterol issue in there. And here's the kicker. You'll get more misinformation on cholesterol than you'll get on almost any other topic. My strong opinion, very strong opinion, I think you can Google this, is niacin is probably one of the biggest fixes for cholesterol. Now research that and feel good about it, but you're getting a real natural source of niacin in this every single day. Niacin lowers your LDL and it raises your HDL, but it comes in this case from greens. And why that's important is most people think that if they have high cholesterol, they need to quit eating meat. That's exactly wrong. When you have a USDA grain-fed steak, realize the steak, the beef, ate the bread. So if you eat the animal that ate the bread, you ate the bread. But if you have grass-fed beef, you didn't eat the bread, And that actually will start to lower your cholesterol. So
I never knew that. I never knew that.
But stay with me, because I want to bring you, this is every single person that's worried about their cholesterol should own this. And so when we have people who have a high acidity to their bloodstream, the acid will burn a hole in their blood vessel. Okay. And then they'll have a bleed or this or that. And so that happens actually fairly, thank God, fairly rarely, but stay with me. So we all know what a dental cavity is. So hopefully everybody's brushing their teeth before they go to bed to get the sugar off so that the sugar doesn't eat a hole in their tooth. Well, 95% of what you swallow goes through your bloodstream. So if it's erosive enough to eat a hole in a hard tooth, when you go to the dentist and they scrape on your tooth, it doesn't hurt your tooth at all. That's how hard that thing is. But think about the acid will eat a hole in it. What's it doing to your blood vessel? So we're going to blow out and blow a leak, except there's this magical protective compound that our body synthesizes in our liver called, drum roll, Alex, cholesterol. And the cholesterol is the bulletproof vest that keeps our acidity from burning a hole in us. Now, we're getting our niacin to lower our cholesterol from greens, and greens alkalize our pH in our blood, so we're not as acidic, so we can bring our cholesterol down, because if we're not as acidic and we're not getting shot at, we don't need as thick of a bulletproof vest. Is that fantastic? So that's also in this form. Yeah, and so if we're not mega dosing it, but we're getting it every day, we're going in the right direction with that. Now, back to our magic mushrooms. When we get over to the vitamin B5s and B6s that are found in this, that really is tremendous for people who have muscle fatigue. So if we're going really hard and we're sore, our muscles burn, we're recovering athletically very, very slowly, that's often from a vitamin B5 and B6 deficiency. Now on B6 is a big one. And then Alex, I promise I'll pick up speed here, but everybody needs to know this. Vitamin B6 is one of the biggest things for pain. So if you have carpal tunnel, if you have sciatic neuritis, if you have trigeminal neuralgia, if you have pain, if you have nerve pain, B6 is tremendous. Now, here's the other thing. Vitamin B6 catalyzes about 100 different enzyme reactions in your body, mostly dealing with protein. And how you know you're vitamin B6 deficient is you've had a lot of grains, you have cracks in your lips, and telltale signs is you have swollen ankles, fluid retention in your lips, and you sleep really, really poorly. And so also, this is what's beautiful about this formula. Niacin can deplete vitamin B6. B6 can negate niacin. So when we have niacin and B6 both presented in perfect harmony in these ratios, you're absolutely not having to be the wizard behind the curtain. All you have to do is have perfect attendance, and you get the benefits of these very clever, creative formulas. Now, moving down to folate and B12. Folate and B12, let me do folate real quick by itself. Really good for certain types of anemias, really good for blood flow issues to the extremities, also for erectile dysfunction, those type things. Vitamin B12 is kind of good, kind of bad, depending on which one you get. The synthetic cyanocobalamin, you ever heard back in the old days of patients getting cobalt treatments? Cobalamin is actually cobalt, and then methyl cobalamin is the natural organic source that we get from food. It is fantastic. And I had an old professor one time, and Alex, you talked about your professor that said if we all knew what he knew, your head would explode.
Yeah.
Well, I actually thought my head was going to explode. Listen to this guy, but he told me he practiced till he was 92. And he told me one day, he said, son, acupuncture works because it brings energy into the body. And the reason it works by bringing energy into the body is the acupuncture needles are antennas that hang out of the body and pull electromagnetic fields, wavelengths through the body. And when you swallow B12, because it is essentially a metal, it is like a cobalt cousin, it is bringing energy into the body. Now, everybody will tell you it's for anemia. And I would tell you, they know a fun fact about B12, but they don't know B12. B12 is a mystery nutrient that brings energy into the body and heals all kinds of things. So I've already told my wife, I said, babe, if I end up incoherent on my deathbed prematurely and you want me to make a comeback, they don't know what to do with me. You mega dose me with B12 because that makes me an antenna that pulls in the healing energies from the universe into your body. So I'm a huge advocate of B12. Now, biotin will help us with our skin, with our hair, with our nails. Pantothenic acid, we talked about. Now, Alex, I could get on another debate with you, and you beat me last week when we debated, and we talked about, is this nutrient for chemistry or is it for emotional? And I made an argument that our ashwagandha was completely for chemistry purposes. And you beat me and you proved that it's much more emotional in nature. You would probably beat me if we argued about pantothenic acid, because pantothenic acid is tremendous for emotional stress. So I always tell people that if you have adrenal exhaustion and you have a lot of fatigue and you're really run down, and you're run down because you're structurally running a marathon or digging a ditch, you take vitamin C compounds. But if you're an air traffic controller that's going through a divorce and an audit at the same time, then you take pantothenic acid, because for emotional stress, that helps you with that from a much better solution. Now, our calcium's good for our bones, but it's also good as the biggest buffering agent in the human body is calcium bicarbonate. And if we want an IV and we go needle in the vein, we need to hang a bag of calcium bicarbonate. But if we're going to do it orally through the body, we want our calcium from greens and vegetables. And here's why. 75% of the Earth's crust is calcium. The other 25% is the other 76 minerals. So when we're looking at the main buffering, and when I say buffering, I mean alkalinity, and I mean alkalinity because I don't mean acidity, and I don't mean acidity because acidity causes disease, and alkalinity and bringing us back to neutrality is where we need to be, and we have to have greens and calcium to do that. And then when you go deeper into those minerals, we're looking at iron, zinc, and selenium. You can't have proper thyroid function without selenium and its antioxidant effects. Zinc, we put on our noses to keep from getting sunburned, but zinc marries hydrogen to chloride to form stomach acid. And when you form stomach acid properly, you digest properly, you break these foods down properly. When you break them down properly, you absorb them completely. So we have to have zinc involved. By the way, when a baby has diaper rash, they use zinc. When an adult has a sore throat, they use a zinc lozenge. From one end of the GI tract to the other end of the GI tract, you got to have zinc. And dead middle of the GI tract, where zinc marries hydrogen chloride to form hydrochloric acid to absorb your nutrients, zinc is a player. Look how clever this formula is. You guys don't have to know all this. Dr. Rubin, Dr. Josh, they know all this. They've designed this formula so that if you don't know, you still get to go. It's still got every single thing in there. We're looking at magnesium and chromium for chromium is so huge. I use chromium often with my blood sugar patients. Who's a blood sugar patient? Everybody with the pulse. Your insulin levels. Remember, we talked about we have 3 times more diabetics than we had in the mid-90s, right?
Right.
So if we have 3 times more diabetics, what makes our insulin work better? And what makes our insulin work better is chromium. So our chromium is phenomenal in this. He's keeping our electrolytes balanced with sodium and potassium. We're keeping our veggie and fruit blend to keep us alkaline. And then he's got some fermented mushrooms in there and our digestive health blend. And Alex, I don't know if you know this, we went on and on and on about all the B vitamins. If a human body is working perfectly, do you know where you're supposed to get your B vitamins?
Food.
No, sir. No, sir. You're supposed to get your B vitamins from your gut flora. And if we had perfect guts, And guys, if you want to go back, Dr. Alex and I did a podcast on gut health. If your gut is perfectly fluoridated and your microbiome is populated by the ones that should be in there, you're making these B vitamins that do all these fantastic things for you. Well, what if you've had too many antibiotics? What if you've had too much white trash that had yeast in it? What if you've had steroids? What if you've had birth control pills? What if you've had a high refined diet? How's your microbiome? And so all the leaky gut people will benefit from this tremendously. So Alex, here's my couple points that I'd like to kind of wrap this whole big thing. And guys, I talked as fast as I could because I wanted you, each and every one of you, to have all this information. Celebrate this formula for what it does not have in it. Celebrate this formula for the ratios of things that go together as cofactors and coenzymes, and celebrate this formula because it's not only whole food, but it's organic. So we're not getting those things that we're getting in the produce aisle that are contaminated. And so really fantastic formula. I'm very happy that Dr. Alex brought me on board with this, because with his relationship with Dr. Josh and Dr. Rubin, I'm able to bring my patient base a product that, is going to be tremendously beneficial to that population. So anyway, Dr. Alex, I hope I did what you wanted me to there, and just a quick run through of that formula.
Okay, Laura, you can take that down. Okay, so I hope you realized what I was trying to tell you and understand I was not exaggerating. That's a 30-minute masterclass in nutrition that, and I've seen many, many medical doctors of all types who have heard that, what you just heard, and they were like, wow, I didn't know half of that. Okay. So, we're going to post those recordings on the site where where all of this is. The links are in the chat that I believe it's over on the right to me. And you can go to those links and you can order this. Now, we are not selling currently the Irish sea salt, the olive oil, or the apple cider vinegar. You can get those on Amazon. You can get the olive oil at Costco, if you remember, at Costco, or you can get Kirkland olive oil from Amazon. All of that you can, get at the place where it works best for you and the best value. But make sure we've got the ones that are organic and that work great. So I would go with those. If you go with a different one, try to make sure it's the same cold pressed virgin and the organic, the apple cider vinegar, raw unfiltered organic apple cider vinegar, okay, and the sea salt, okay. So get those wherever it works best, but make sure they're the good ones, because if they're not, then you run into what Dr. Tim was just talking about, where you've got all these synthetic and artificial things that actually work against your health. You're paying for a nutrition to help you, and it's hurting you because it's synthetic and has all this stuff that's not pure from China and other places. Well, if you just stick to what we're showing you, you're going to guarantee that that doesn't happen to you, and you're going to get the best deal you can get, because again, this is not available anywhere else right now, and it's cheaper even than the company that manufactures it sells it for, because of this partnership that we're doing together. Okay. We're going to open it for Q&A. Oh, I want to show you one other thing. Laura, put the slide up about the seventh bonus ingredient if they want to do that, please. If you want to add a seventh thing, the others were 6, this is what I would add. You have 350 approximately body systems, about 9 to 12 of those are macro, and over 300 of those are micro. All right. CBD is the only thing on planet Earth that we know of that has a healing effect on all 350 at the same time. It's unbelievable. Your body produces CBD in three situations. When a woman breastfeeds, runner's high, and when you meditate, your body produces CBD. Every cell in your body has a receptor specifically for CBD, and that's not true of any other plant or natural thing on earth. Only CBD. You got to ask yourself, why is that? How come every cell has a receptor? Now, the problem with CBD is that most of the CBDs that you get aren't powerful enough to have the effect that it should be having, because they're oils, and water and oil don't mix right in the body. It clumps up. Now, the virgin olive oil, you don't have to worry about that, but with CBD you do. Well, I manufacture this CBD myself in Colorado, and it is water soluble, one of the very few in the world that's water soluble. That makes it about 10 times more effective than ones that are oils. And it's nanotechnology, which makes it about another 10 times more effective than the oils. So for most CBDs, you'd have to take 20 bottles, buy 20 bottles to have the same effect as this one. And I believe it's a half a dropper full a day. You could do that right in the glass with all the other stuff, chug it once a day. That's it. But that is a bonus ingredient. You don't have to do that, but you do need to do those 6 that we've already gone over and that are on the links where you can check those out, read more about it. If you want to listen to Dr. Tim again, I guarantee you, because it happens every time he does this, there's some of you that weren't prepared to take notes. And after about 10 minutes, you started taking notes, but then thought, but wait a minute, I forgot that stuff. Well, we're going to make it available to you so you can listen to it again and take notes. You can send it to your neighbors so they can hear the truth about nutrition and quit wasting their money on things that don't work. Okay. All right. So take that down, please, Laura. And we will open it up for a few minutes for Q&A, and then we will be done. And I'm sorry this went over. We usually try to hold these things to an hour, but you had to hear the nutrition masterclass. I think every person on earth needs to know that information. Okay. So you can press *9 to raise your hand. And in the Q&A below, you can type in a question, and we will do our best to answer it. But I do not know nutrition like Dr. Tim, so I don't claim that. All right, Karen, you are unmuted. If you would like to say something, Karen Sorgel, I believe. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And maybe you raised your hand by accident. Someone asked a question on the chat. How does adding the Celtic sea salt, apple cider vinegar, and olive oil enhance the ancient nutrition products? It doesn't enhance the ancient nutrition. It adds to the overall mixture. The apple cider vinegar is one of the healthiest things on planet Earth. Everybody needs to be consuming apple cider vinegar, in my opinion. A lot of the salad dressings these days for people that have cancer and things like that are olive oil and apple cider vinegar mix. And it's because they're so healthy, but it also can have a good taste as well. All right. So the sea salt is for great hydration and the water that we drink doing its job. If you don't absorb the water you drink, you can drink gallons and still be dehydrated and deficient. Okay, so you need to make sure of that. The olive oil is absolutely one of the healthiest substances on planet Earth, period. It is jam-packed with antioxidants for cancer prevention, for aches and pains in your body. Oxidation is one of the enemies of health, and that's what that goes after. All right. So those three add a tremendous amount. Any contradiction for someone taking Coumadin? You need to ask your medical doctor about that. I'm not going to try to answer that. What if I take medication? I don't believe this will negatively affect your medications. I really don't. Ask your doctor, but I can just tell you there's a bunch of people taking this now, and about a third of them are on medications, and some of them heavy, and they're doing great. They're getting better and better. Okay, and here's another written question. Oh, he said, I heard the before on your blood pressure, but not the after. The before was I'm sorry. Where is that? I've got it written down here. Oh, before it was 120/75. Now it's 110/70. Pulse went from 75 to 50. Cholesterol normalized. Aches and pains went away. Hope really had more benefit than I did, but I was a little bit healthier than her when we started. Do you ship internationally? We do now. We're actually debating that right now with VAT taxes and all these new things in all these foreign countries. But as of right now, we do. Can you mix with almond milk instead of water? Someone asked. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good suggestion. Karen, you are still unmuted on my end. If you want to say something, I haven't heard anything from you, so it may have been an accident. Okay, again, the links are in the webinar chat on the right of your screen. There's links there for the sea salt, the apple cider vinegar, the virgin olive oil, and a link for the nutrition. Now, I do need to say this. There's one problem with the Ancient Nutrition products, all right? And I'm going to be very upfront about that. And I've asked them to fix this, and they told me they're going to. So I don't know if that'll be tomorrow or in 6 months or whatever. But in the peptide proteins and the super greens, they're not for the same amount of days. In other words, both of those have little bitty scoops in them that make sure you do the exact right amount, okay? But one of them is for a different amount of days than the other, all right? So if you're going to do this regularly, you may need to buy one extra, I believe, of the peptide proteins, one extra. And then when you get to the end of the other one, when you'll still have this left, but you'll run out of this first. So if you buy one extra of this, it should probably take you 4 or 5 months to use that up. And then that would kind of equalize them. Okay. And the ashwagandha is for the, 1 month. So they're going to fix that, but that is a little bit wonky right now. So be aware of that. But please don't let that keep you from doing this to increase your health for your loved ones and your own enjoyment as well. Let's see. Another written question. I often use other oil supplements. Could that be substituted for the olive oil? I would not. I would do olive oil in addition. olive oil. I think God put something special in olive oil. I really do. So that's up to you, but you asked my opinion. That's it. And I don't make any money on the olive oil because we're not selling that. So I don't have a vested interest in that, but I would do both. Or check with your doctor, see what your doctor says. Okay, so I don't know how long this is going to be available for the price that it's available. I hope it's forever, but things have been, as all of you know, inflation and costs have gone up like crazy for food and everything else, and nutrition is one that's gone up as well. These are really pre-COVID prices, okay? So I would go ahead and start, because if you go ahead and order and the prices increase, we will grandfather that. We'll try to keep selling it to you at the cheaper price now, okay? If you start later after the price goes up, you'll probably need to pay the new price. I'm not trying to put pressure on you by saying that. It's just the way it is, okay? But so anyway, you can get that, you know, on an auto ship kind of thing. You can go rebuy it every month. You can buy them one at a time if you want, if you need extra or whatever. If you heard something in what Dr. Tim shared about the nutrition and think, oh, I need a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that, you can do that, all right? But it's at a ridiculous price right now for these. And there's not an option. No one else has this combination. Okay, no one. All right. So thank you so very much for. I know we usually hold it to an hour, and this was an hour and a half. But I really wanted you to hear from Josh, Jordan, and the nutrition masterclass. And what I would recommend is, if you've got friends or family that you care about, send them the link to that masterclass nutrition. It's 30 minutes long. 30 minutes, okay? Your loved ones can spare 30 minutes if you convince them that it's worth their while, and tell them to have their paper and pencil to take notes, because there's all kinds of things in there that for different health issues that they might want to get a little bit extra folic acid or a little bit extra B1 or a little bit extra B12, like Dr. Tim talked about, but they won't do that if they don't know to do that. And other people aren't sharing this information. They don't know it, most of them, even medical doctors and other nutritionists. So anyway, I hope you understand now why I'm so excited. This has dramatically changed the health for me and Hope, more for Hope than for me, but for both of us. Our boys are on it now. We all plan to be on it the rest of our lives, and are very, very grateful for that. So we were spending $1,500 a month on nutrition. Now it's down to $100, and we're way healthier. It takes 60 seconds a day. It's dummy proofed. It's just, I mean, I don't know any reason that anyone wouldn't do this, because you're going to get healthier and healthier if you do. And it's a great, it's a great marriage with that and the Healing Codes Trilogy, belief mapping. That's why we're going to try to take over the chiropractic world with all of this in the next year or two, hopefully. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for your patience and time. And man, start making your health better every single day. Better every day. Better every day. I think that's what you can accomplish now with the Codes Trilogy belief mapping, and now this great breakthrough in whole food organic nutrition. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful evening. Laura, thank you so much. And God bless you all. Good night.